Purpose, introduce Olivia, her emotional world, and the humiliation that sets everything in motion. The Hilton Grand shimmered under a canopy of golden lights, every glass pane reflecting luxury and lineage. Black-tie guests glided through the marble entrance, their laughter echoing like champagne bubbles. I stood just beyond the velvet rope, clutching an embossed invitation that suddenly felt like a joke. Absolutely not, Olivia, Vanessa's voice cut through the air, sharp, glossy, and practiced for society events. Her sequined gown caught the chandelier light, but her tone carried none of its warmth. Use the service entrance. I blinked, thinking she might be joking. The service entrance? I'm your sister. She folded her arms. And I'm reminding you this gala is for major donors and distinguished families. People who actually belong here. Belong. The word stung harder than I expected. Behind her, the doorman ushered in the Harringtons, old money royalty in this city. My mother, radiant in Chanel, caught sight of me and immediately looked uncomfortable. Vanessa's right, dear. It's better this way. Better. As if my presence might contaminate the carpet. My father's name was etched on the Foundation's program, Thomas Chin, board member. My brother Michael, the golden boy, was arriving with Senator Whitmore's daughter on his arm. And me? The tech girl who dropped out of business school. The one who still lived in a condo and drove a Tesla. They didn't know my company had gone public last month. They didn't know that the very foundation hosting this gala had called me weeks ago, their voices trembling with gratitude, when I quietly donated $20 million to their pediatric cancer research program. I'd asked them to keep it anonymous, partly for humility, partly because I didn't need my family's approval to matter. Still, hearing my mother say, "It's better this way," made the years of quiet hurt flare into something raw. I have an invitation, I said, holding it up. Vanessa smiled, the kind that hides a sneer. You bought a table, Olivia. That's cute. But Mom and Dad's table cost $50,000. Ours is closer to the stage. My mother sighed, her pearls glinting. Please, just go around back. Don't make a scene. The valet opened another car door. Cameras flashed. My sister smoothed her gown and turned away, already smiling for the photographers. I stood in my simple black dress, elegant, understated, invisible. Fine, I thought. Let them have their entrance. As I walked toward the side alley, a valet hesitated. Ma'am, that's the service corridor. I know, I said quietly. Inside, the smell of detergent and stainless steel filled the air. Staff rushed past with trays of champagne, adjusting flower arrangements, whispering to each other about the VIP donors. No one knew that the woman quietly slipping through the back door was the one funding the entire research program tonight. And no one, least of all my family, realized that tonight, the back door was about to open to a very different kind of entrance. Purpose, deepen Olivia's isolation, expose family dynamics, and build toward the event's emotional turn. The ballroom glittered like a world I was never meant to enter. 800 people in black and silver filled the space, a sea of sequins, laughter, and polite lies. Every table was wrapped in silk linen and crowned with crystals. I found mine, table 52, tucked by the kitchen doors. Perfect, I thought. I had bought the entire table, planning to bring my executive team. But product launches had kept us at the office till midnight all week. Tonight, I sat alone. From across the room, I could see my family clustered near the front. Vanessa laughed too loudly at something Bradley, her husband, said. My mother hovered near Patricia Harrington, always one step behind her, like a shadow desperate to belong. My father's hand rested proudly on Michael's shoulder as he greeted the senator. To them, this was success's proximity to prestige. A young server approached me, his bow tie slightly crooked. Would you like champagne, ma'am? Yes, thank you, I said. He returned moments later, eyes flicking between the table number and me. Sorry, are you, sure this is your seat? Table 52 is usually for overflow staff. I smiled faintly. Seems fitting. As the orchestra began playing, I felt my phone buzz. Dr. Hall, the foundation director. Miss Chin, are you here? We'd like you at the board's table for the recognition segment. I typed, I'm at table 52. I'm fine here. Table 52? That's nearly in the service area. Family preference, I replied. 3 dots appeared. Then nothing. Dinner began. Around me, conversations sparkled: real estate, art, politics. My mother raised her glass from table 8, her laughter graceful, rehearsed. Not once did her gaze drift back toward me. I had once believed success would earn their respect, that building a billion-dollar company from scratch might make them proud. Instead, it only made me invisible in a room where bloodlines mattered more than brilliance. Still, I didn't hate them. I pitied them, their obsession with belonging, their fear of appearing small. They needed rooms like this to validate them. I didn't. As dessert plates were cleared and the lights dimmed, Dr. Hall took the stage. Tonight, she began, we honor not just generosity but vision. A single act of giving that will change thousands of lives. The chatter softened. I took a sip of champagne, my pulse steady. I'd asked for anonymity, but I knew what was coming. When Dr. Hall announced the donation amount, $20 million, a collective gasp swept through the ballroom. The number itself drew reverence. Then came the silence, heavy, expectant. And then, the reveal. Purpose, the power shift, Olivia's revelation in front of everyone. Please join me in thanking our visionary benefactor, Dr. Hall said, pausing, letting suspense ripple through the room. Miss Olivia Chin, founder and CEO of Next Tech Solutions. Every head turned. It was like watching dominoes fall: curiosity, confusion, shock. My father's jaw slackened. Vanessa's hand froze mid-toast. My mother's smile collapsed, leaving only horror in its place. Michael looked as though someone had pulled the floor from under him. A spotlight found me at table 52. 800 faces turned toward the woman sitting alone by the kitchen. The applause started hesitantly, then grew, rising like a tide until it filled the room. Dr. Hall's voice carried over the sound. Miss Chin, would you please join us? I rose slowly, the champagne flute trembling slightly in my hand. As I walked between tables, every whisper followed, that's her? Next Tech? The IPO? She's the donor? When I passed table 8, Patricia Harrington leaned toward my mother. Susan, I didn't know your daughter was that Olivia Chin. My mother didn't respond. I reached the stage, where Dr. Hall embraced me. Thank you for trusting us, she whispered. You're extraordinary. Edward Morrison, the foundation president, handed me a crystal award. Miss Chin's contribution represents the largest single donation in our 40-year history. Her generosity will fund pediatric leukemia research that could save thousands of young lives. The applause thundered again. I could feel it vibrating through my chest. Edward turned to me. Would you like to say a few words? I hadn't planned to. But when I looked out across the sea of faces, at my family's disbelief and the silent weight of the spotlight, something in me shifted. I stepped forward. Thank you, I began. When I started my company 12 years ago, I had $5,000 and a stubborn belief that technology could save lives. Tonight, standing here, I see what that belief has become. I looked toward the front tables. This cause is personal. A close friend's daughter fought leukemia for years. Watching her battle the system taught me what true courage looks like, and how broken our healthcare structures are. So, this donation isn't just about money. It's about hope. The silence was complete, Reverend. I turned slightly, my gaze locking on my mother's frozen expression. And while I'm honored to be among you all, I also want to remind everyone, the most important families we serve aren't sitting in this ballroom. They're sitting beside hospital beds right now, praying for a miracle. A pause. That's who I came here for. The applause erupted like a storm. Purpose, tension after the reveal, family's reaction, Olivia's quiet empowerment. When the applause finally faded, I stepped off the stage into a world that suddenly wanted me. Donors swarmed. Reporters asked for quotes. Dr. Hall pulled me aside. "I'm so sorry about your seating arrangement," she said, embarrassed. "If I'd known your family situation, it's fine," I said gently. It told me what I needed to know. The Harringtons approached next. Patricia extended a hand, smiling warmly. "Miss Chin, the Harrington Foundation would love to collaborate. Your vision is what philanthropy should be." I shook her hand. "Please, call me Olivia." Behind her, my mother hovered, pale and trembling. "Olivia," she began, voice cracking. "We didn't know." "That much is clear," I said softly. Vanessa appeared, mascara streaking her cheeks. "Olivia, you donated $20 million? How? Work. Dedication. The things you said didn't belong at your table." Her lips parted, but no words came. Michael joined, his politician's smile already forming. "Lev, this is incredible. The Whitmore family runs an investment fund. We should talk opportunities." I looked at him, then at his wife. "I'm not an opportunity, Michael. I'm your sister. Or at least, I was." Senator Whitmore approached, shaking my hand. "Miss Chin, I'd be honored if you'd consult on upcoming healthcare legislation." My mother clutched my wrist. "Please, can we speak privately?" I exhaled, calm now. "There's nothing to say." "If we'd known, you'd have let me walk through the front door?" I said, eyes steady. "You judged me by what you could see, not what I was building." "That's on you." My father's voice joined, desperate. "Patricia Harrington wants to meet with us, Olivia." "This could be, Dad," I interrupted quietly. "This isn't about you. Or your reputation. It's about children who'll live because I refuse to measure my worth by your table placements." The photographer's flashes popped like fireworks. Around us, the whispers grew: admiration, disbelief, vindication. My family stood motionless in the glare. "Excuse me," I said, and turned toward the private reception where real conversations awaited about medicine, innovation, and impact. For the first time in years, I felt light. Untethered. Free. Purpose, emotional resolution, Olivia chooses her worth and new family. Upstairs, the penthouse suite glowed softly under chandeliers. 50 people, doctors, researchers, philanthropists, spoke passionately about the future. These were the people I wanted to stand beside. Patricia Harrington approached with a glass of wine. "Your family's behavior was disgraceful," she said frankly. "But you handled it with grace." That speech, it moved everyone. "Thank you," I said. Sometimes silence teaches louder than words. We discussed funding strategies for pediatric research, ways technology could track remission data globally. These were my people. Not by blood, but by purpose. My phone buzzed non-stop, 40 missed calls. Then 80. Then over 200. Family, cousins, friends from prep school. The same people who had never once asked about my life. I blocked them all. The next morning, the Times headline read, "Gala Scandal, Family Forces $20 million Donor Through Service Entrance." Photos side by side, me entering through the staff corridor, me on stage holding the award. The commentary was brutal. My family's silence was public, their shame immortalized in pixels. Yet the business pages told a different story. Next tech CEO's gift to cancer research sets record. Dr. Hall called, voice trembling with emotion. "Olivia, you've changed everything for these kids. You've changed us." That night, alone in my apartment overlooking the skyline, I looked out at the city that once made me feel small. Now, it looked different, like a place I had quietly conquered. Purpose, emotional closure, Olivia redefines family, belonging, and success. 6 months later, the research project my donation funded published its first findings, a 38% increase in survival rates for the most aggressive form of childhood leukemia. Dr. Hall called me crying. "Olivia, your gift saved lives." That night, I received an email from my mother. "We saw the news. We're so proud. Please forgive us." I didn't reply. A year later, the foundation invited me to co-chair its new pediatric brain cancer initiative. I donated $30 million. At the next gala, I entered through the front doors, not for validation, but because this time it was my event to host. Cameras flashed, but I didn't pose. I simply smiled and took my seat at table 1 beside Patricia Harrington, Dr. Hall, and the research directors who had become my chosen family. As the orchestra began, I glanced toward the far end of the ballroom, table 52, empty, quiet, still placed by the kitchen. For a moment, I saw the ghost of myself there, a small, unseen, waiting for someone to notice her. Then I looked back at the stage and smiled. Because the truth was, that table had been the best seat in the house. It had shown me exactly who my family was, and who I was meant to become. The spotlight swept across the room again as I accepted the Foundation's Humanitarian Award. My voice didn't tremble this time. "Some doors are meant to close," I said, "so you can learn to build your own entrance. Sometimes, the service hallway leads you to the front of the world." The audience rose, not just in applause, but in understanding. And as the lights shimmered across the crystal chandeliers, I finally understood something deeper than revenge or redemption. I didn't need a seat at their table. I had built my own.